Welcome back to another Zero Context Patreon. I start advertising my Patreon content one out of context theater moment at a time. I started the month off by finishing the last couple of chapters of the Manageship series before jumping into the third book of the Janitor series, Curse of the Broomstaff. Following this, I started on the first two chapters of the Golem and the Genie. Also, happy leap year, I guess. Her words were cut off by a steely scree. For the love of Stan Edward, somebody please get the author a goddamn dictionary. That is not what that fucking word means. Noun. A mass of loose stones that form or covered the slope on a mountain. They had to pick their way up precarious scree, a slope covered with small loose stones. Plural noun, screes, the dramatic cliffs and screes. It's true, you are my son. You are Dorian Thane Lormite reborn. I think my main problem with this final book is how quick the author is to throw stuff at us, but she never once actually built up to any of this. I complained earlier about how literally every single thing about the Emperor felt like set dressing, but whatever his motives, why is he doing this? The dude is about as dimensional as a flat piece of paper. It's the same thing here. Dan is some sort of god reincarnated, but this was never once hinted at. We are literally 3 chapters from the end, but sure, let's go with pulls out a literal Duec Machina. Dan has been a god all along. Did the author ever build up to this? Fuck no. But we're simply happy to end the series no matter what. 3 months had passed without any word from Des. Under Slick's persuasion, the bully had stayed at New Forest Academy, but Slick was long gone, eaten by his own overgrown grime. So what was keeping Des from coming home? Had the bully given into the BEM? Was he truly one of them now? Let's not pretend like Slick was a one-off villain. In the grand scheme of things, he was a minor player, and Spencer knows this. Ooh, so why is he acting all surprised? Spencer's first thought is that an animal got inside the house and threw trash everywhere, but then logic takes over and reminds him that raccoons don't serve the glass from the newspaper. However, Alice has apparently reached her breaking point. For years, she's been a single mom, struggling to take care of her 4 children. Her husband finally returned, only for him to jet off to do who knows what. Like, yes, he is doing real good work with saving the world and everything, but holy guacamole, these children need their father. And please stop involving 12-year-olds in your plan. You know it's all over when you're in total agreement with the adult in a children's story. After he leaves, Daisy tells Spencer a huge secret, and Spencer had given her the glorified soap so that she could also see the toxites. She told her dad, who agreed to use the soap with her. They've known this entire time. The thing that keeps them safe is twofold, that nobody else knows that they know, and the family's reputation as gullible gates. The kids sit in horrified silence for a while before Penny comes back with the battery pack Spencer had cut off from one toxite. The writer had abandoned it after Spencer had cut it. They determine that the toxics are happy when there's electricity, but when the writer turns the charge down, they get angry over how there's no electricity, but also how they've been relocated. That's when they attack. However, as soon as the kids are inside, they almost immediately run into trouble. Instead of simply getting to the janitor's closet to rescue the others, they run into a teacher who asks why they aren't on cafeteria duty. The kids insist that they're in Mrs. B's class, the name of the teacher Min told them earlier, but as their bad luck would have it, this is Mrs. B, who never once questions why these kids claim to be from her class, yet she's clearly never seen them before. She insists that they need to be in the cafeteria so they know that they're going to have to wing it from here on out. What do you think we have to do? Daisy whispered as the kitchen door closed behind them. We don't have lunch duty at Welcher Elementary. We're supposed to help serve lunch, Spencer said. I had to do this at my old school. There were 4 other kids in the kitchen. They stood at the serving counter handing food under plastic sneeze scarves to their classmates. Again, why do any of these adults or even the other students take one look at these complete strangers and assume that they 100% must be on lunch duty? Alan tells Spencer, I'm insanely disappointed in you, son. Now come on, let's go home or you'll be punished immediately. This overrides the principal's desire to force the children to stay behind and clean up the cafeteria, but obviously Alan is more intent on getting him and Spencer out from there. Outside, Alan cracks up and tells Spencer that he did good. Obviously, his behavior inside was nothing but an act. Spencer doesn't exactly feel that way, especially since his dad has been missing for 2 years, since he was 10. Even though it wasn't his fault, he obviously internalized a lot of that. Carefully, he reached his fingers into the end of the roll and pinched out a scrap of old newspaper stuffed tightly as if to hold something in. Alan tossed the paper into the trash can and grabbed a second wrinkled scrap from the other end of the tube. We've got to find a way to narrow down the search, Penny said. I might start by searching Ellsberg High School. Everyone turned to Bernard. The garbologist was rocked back on his chair, yellow boots resting on the edge of the table. He was holding a newspaper in front of his face as though casually reading at the breakfast table. Would you get your nose out of the trash and start taking things more seriously? Penny snapped at him. Bernard lowered the wrinkled newspaper just enough to peer over the top. One man's trash is another man's reading material. Very interesting report about the janitor at Aylesbury High School. Looks like the article continues on page A3. I'm kind of on Bernard's side here. These people's lives revolve around trash. Alan said that they literally live in a landfill. Of course, the packing material for the clue is also going to be another clue. It's you, Dad. Spencer cut him off. You're leading the pluggers right to us. Now, wait a minute. Alan leaned across the table. Are you accusing me of treason? You think I'm telling the pluggers where to find us? You might as well, Spencer said. Old anger about his dad's absence was resurfacing, and for once Spencer decided to let it flow. Being with you puts all of us in danger. Oh, Alan stood up. Is that what you think? Since you seem to have all the answers, why don't you lead the mission? Okay, Spencer shouted. We'll start by fixing Bernard's garbage truck. We'll start by listening to other people's ideas. Walter reached out and grabbed Spencer's arm. The contact reminded Spencer that he and his father were not alone in the room. Why do you think your dad is leading the pluggers to us? Penny asked. Spencer took a deep breath. Leslie's filth is baited. He relaxed his fist. Mr. Clean had a scrap of my dad's shirt and he fed it to the extension filth. Now it's tracking us and it won't stop until it finds him. You could have led with that. Rico didn't repair the wall. He probably got curious and blew it open. Without further discussion, Penny drew a push broom from her belt. She twirled it around like a fighting staff and then thrust it against the formerly brick wall. The sound caused everyone to cringe as huge fragments of glass shattered down to the floor. Then it was utterly quiet. The distinctive smell of a public bathroom wafted through the open passageway. So if this bathroom has been sealed up for at least 20 years, why does it smell like a public bathroom? At the least it should smell musty, but not toilety. Spencer flushes the toilet, and at first it's normal, but then he gets the sensation of needing to put his head near the toilet. He's obviously trying to resist this, since that's nasty, but he does and gets sucked into the toilet where he zips along the pipes like the worst water slide ever. But now here she was, still clad in her orange prison jumpsuit, a dangerous sneer on her face. So they broke her out of prison and sent her to Colorado for training, but never once in the passing days did literally any single person bother to go, oh, have some clean clothes? Starling and barking, an extension Phyllis pounced from routine. Leslie's arm shot out and she caught hold of Daisy's long braid. Daisy screamed as her head whiplashed back. Spencer struggled to hold her with the garbage truck crawling backwards. One of Daisy's hands slipped from Spencer's, but instead of trying to hold on, Daisy reached back and threw something from the pouch of her janitorial belt. Of all the weapons, Daisy chose that. Baby flashed into view, held by one leg like a war club. Daisy brought the doll down, slamming the plastic head into Leslie's face. She struck again and again, battering back the substitute teacher with Miss Natcher's hall pass. At last, Leslie's grip failed. Imagine being clubbed with a plastic baby doll. Then the garbage truck crested the ridge and the road sloped downward. At the top of the ridge, the rebels could see what had been hidden before. Straight ahead was a wide and deep gorge. The impossible chasm stretched out on sight on both ends, encircling the largest pile of trash Spencer had ever seen. Those BEM idiots had been parked literally miles from their end goal. Not once did any of them think, hey, maybe we should scout the area, see what's around. Spencer is still hung up over Jenna's lies. He understands why she would have lied, but obviously it's kind of a lot to take in. She goes on to say that her name isn't actually Jenna, but Ro, and Spencer is hung up over that because the person he knew as Jenna literally does not, nor did she ever exist. She smiled then, a Jenna smile. It made Spencer feel ridiculous. Of course, Ro didn't feel anything special for him. He was 12. She was 300. I think that this is the first time that a book has actually acknowledged that no romance is going to come because there is an unholy age gap. However, before they can do that, somebody from above lodges what the Orans identify as a stink bomb down at them. It's the equivalent of chucking chum into shark-infested waters. Now everybody smells like dinner to the thingamajunks. They get into position to attack, but Alan shoves Daisy and Spencer behind the others and tells them to stay out of the way. Their first line of offense is to attack with mops. But as their mop strings fly out, a tripwire springs up and snaps off the mop strings. They continue to try and fight since there's nothing left to do, but within minutes are isolated and out of the formation that the Orans wanted them to stick to. Arl says he thinks that Spencer has the same powers as himself, but Spencer insists that the only thing he can do is to have visions of the three warlocks. Arl says that Spencer has other powers that he has yet to discover and that he can teach him, but then he goes on to say that the only reason why he knew of this was because Walter carelessly left his notes in the dump truck which Earl now has. Spencer insists that the girls don't know, but Earl asks how much does Spencer trust Ro. Instead of saying something mean to the thingamajunk, Daisy instead says, "You're made of garbage, but I bet under all of that you're a really nice guy." She then pulls out a retainer she got from Bernie's collection at the start of their journey and offers it to the creature. It takes it and promptly explodes, but this allows Spencer to rush forward and use the healing spray on Bernie. When both Ro and V show up, they start trying to trash talk the thingamajig. However, Daisy is quick to defend her new friend, insisting that he saved her. They're both floored with the concept, to which Daisy is quick to say that, of course, the thingamajugs have never been nice to the Arons. They're always trying to trash talk them. Daisy gave this one, named Bookworm, a gift, and now it's her friend. "What will you do when you're free?" Spencer asked. "McDonald's," Olin said. The answer caught Spencer off guard, and Olin chuckled. "I can't tell you how many fast food bags have come through the garbage, but I've never had a real hamburger, only scraps I can dig out of the trash, so that's what I'll do." Olin leaned back. "I'll free the other two dark irons and we'll get out of here. We'll find McDonald's and have a burger." Spencer stared at the boy with a sudden urge of pity. Eating scraps out of garbage for hundreds of years is a horrible existence. Whatever the dark irons had stolen couldn't be that important. "Okay," Spencer said, making a quick decision. "Teach me my powers." That's all it takes? A sob story about only being able to eat somebody's mostly eaten McDonald's burger? They fight, and our heroes are first to run into the tableware forest. However, after a while, it starts to storm, and nobody wants to be in an area with giant metal things in the ground. They race for cover and end up taking shelter in a comically oversized 7-Up can. Yes, specifically a 7-Up can. Leslie's orange printed jumpsuit was caked in dark mud, her hair disheveled, and as wild as the look in her eye. "Again, it's been like a week. Girl, go change into literally anything else." "Toxics are born in Glop. You're just making more monsters." "Why is that my problem?" "You're destroying education," V shrugged. "I'm just keeping things the way they were when the founding witches left." "That's wrong," Spencer muttered, hardly loud enough for her to hear. "The witches wouldn't want this." He raised his voice defiantly. "You're out of line, V, and I have to stop you." "I was thinking about it, and the job of the Arons is to go and deliver fresh glop to the three warlocks, but they know that two of the three of them are evil. And maybe they are simply doing their job, but they're doing so without ever once stopping to think about the implications of their actions." When she died at age 12, drowned in a river on a summer afternoon, he'd lost the only person in his life who'd ever really mattered. "Give her curiosity," he told Shawman, "and intelligence. I can't stand a silly woman. Oh," he said, inspiration warming him to his task, "and make her proper, not lascivious, a gentleman's wife." The old man's eyebrows shot up. He'd expected his client to request motherly kindness, or an eager sexual appetite, or else both. Years of manufacturing love spells had taught him what men like Rotfield thought that they wanted in a woman. But curiosity? Intelligence? He wondered if the man knew what he was asking for. The dude straight up admitted that he's never known a grown woman in his entire goddamn life. Apparently not even his own mother loved him enough to have a relationship with him. The chapter opens up with Golem wandering the streets of New York, being so overwhelmed with the thoughts of literally everybody around her. This goes on and on to the point where I wonder if literally a single goddamn person thought, yeah, 4 pages of non-plot in chapter 3 seems amazing. If you like my content, you can become a member on Patreon. Now you can join for free and get access to all of my free stuff. For only $1 a month, you can have access to so much, including the context for all of this month's commentary and more. I'll see you next month, guys.